Hello, Leo. Welcome to your September 2024 forecast. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. It's so good to see everybody. This reading always can be used for Sun, Rising, Moon, and Venus, and it's going to help you navigate the next 6 to 8 weeks, really giving you everything you need when it comes to challenges and opportunities. Let's get into live channeled messages first. So before I started your reading this morning, I got a lot of information in dreams and also in meditation. In dreams, I was awakened probably around 3 or 4 in the morning with the following phrase: trust your own counsel. And what I was shown in dreams was the mythical figure of Merlin. And the reason that this is so powerful, after I woke up and thought about it before this particular reading began, is that Merlin was a powerful figure in, the whole mythology of King Arthur and Camelot, but he had his own agenda. He didn't always tell Arthur everything. And the important thing here is to be discerning. Of course, get advice, get more than one person kind of giving you input on things. But at the end of the day, you're your own best advocate, and it's really about trusting your intuition and your own counsel with your higher self. And Spirit was giving me like a nudge to give to you, which is if you spend a little bit of time this month in particular in developing and honing your intuitive skills, you won't need to rely as much on others. It's always good to get that, pulse check, see what's going on. But just like Merlin didn't always say everything, you need to really kind of be discerning, develop your own third eye. And this is going to help you see through things, especially I think sometimes if people have an agenda or an MO that they're not going to always say at the beginning, you'll be able to kind of sniff that out intuitively and say, oh, okay, I understand why they're doing that. So it's just going to help you sort out who to trust, who not to trust, and what is going to be the best match for you. Okay, so that was the first thing. I love that the magician came through, though. If we just look at Merlin as that magician, it's showing me that you have the capacity this month, if you focus and if you believe, to really create some significant traction in your life. The other thing that came through was an octopus. It was really interesting. So the octopus, I would connect with any of the 8 cards, particularly 8 of Wands. Multitasking, a lot of things happening at once. It's a highly intelligent creature. And this month, you're going to be able to manage a lot as long as you take time to breathe, tune in as we just talked about, and maybe just focus on letting some of the extraneous things go, whether it's a friendship or relationship where someone's just not returning, or an activity where you're constantly giving and giving, but it's not really, again, sort of returning on your effort. Juggling is good, but there are limits to how much you can juggle, so be smart about what your limits are and convey those. Say no when necessary. I also think of problem solving when I think of this totem, so if something comes through and it's a little perplexing, take a step back, give yourself time, 8 of Cups energy here, and remember that 8 of Swords may be what you're feeling like, I don't know what to do, but when you get distance and you're discerning on how you're spending your energy, then everything starts to come together, and then we'll get the 8 of Pentacles, which is productivity. Most of the 8s are good, except the 8 of Swords, so that's why it's important to take a step back this particular period of time. But between the Magician and the Octopus, you've got this month covered. And now let's go ahead and give the cards a shuffle and see what's in store for you in the month ahead. All right, please close your eyes. Clear any thoughts that might be present and imagine that you're standing in front of a blue sky. All you can see is limitless firmament above you with a beautiful bright light of the sun right overhead. As you inhale, I want you to call in angels, spirit guides, ascended masters, and most importantly, call in your own highest self, your own counsel. And in this space now, we can begin the reading. All right, in your catalyst, we have Rhiannon coming through, one of my favorite songs by Stevie Nicks, but this is also a goddess, and she's associated with things like the moon, fertility, and also forgiveness, rebirth, and the horse that we see here as well. So the rebirth energy, I think, is really, really strong in this moment. If there's anything that no longer serves you, this is a time to really put it to bed and say enough is enough. I talked a little bit to Virgo about this, just really making a decision in this moment to reclaim your power, to reset your position in your path, and to move forward. And also the moon I would associate with your intuition and facing your fears as well. Looking at the horse here, I would connect that to the chariot and just taking the reins and saying, this is who I am, this is what I stand for, this is what I want. All of that coming through in this beautiful illustration. We will continue to kind of look at this self-trust as we go through the spread, but that also nicely aligns with what I picked up on for you in dreams, which was to trust your own counsel, trust yourself, okay? A quick scan of the table reveals about half of the cards, 5 of Pentacles, 7 of Pentacles, King of Pentacles, 8 of Pentacles, 2 of Pentacles, all being related to money, time, energy, and resources. So I could look at all of them and say it's about choices, because we see here in the past and then where the opportunity lies basically to achieve balance. Even the outcome card is choices and balance. So that's really what it's about this month. What is it that really feels like it's worth your time and energy? If you can make smart choices, I feel like you will have more than enough to take you the distance. Let's just take it card by card before we get too far ahead of ourselves. We have a beautifully illustrated 5 of Pentacles coming through here. And you can see that within this sort of cage that she has, there is a rose facing downward. And this is really helping you see that you've only just begun to sort of feel your growth potential. And it kind of reminds me, even though we're looking at Pentacles, of a cup that's half full. Because when we look at the sort of volume of this space, it's only half full. And it almost seems like a tree in wintertime. So this is you learning to look beyond what isn't there. If we actually take that tree metaphor and just imagined it as something that could be growing, when something is dormant, it doesn't mean that it's not there or that it's dead or that there's no growth. It just means that it needs activation through sunlight and water and heat. So I feel like this is a month where you just need activation in order to get this rose to grow again, okay? What could have caused some of the stagnant energy or this dormancy? Well, it can happen because of an experience where someone in your path said you're not good enough, or this didn't. Maybe even you just didn't experience the success that you thought you should, and then you start to doubt yourself. So we really want to work on repairing self-worth, and it's mostly emotional when the 5 of Pentacles comes through. We can also look at it, however, as an indication that there isn't enough. This is like barely break even. So when you're looking at investments of time and energy, something isn't as good as it should be on the other end. Thankfully, you have the Page of Swords coming to the rescue here. Let's talk about this beautiful illustration here. So in this card, we can see a dandelion seed pod, and I don't know how many of you as children did this, but I used to make a wish whenever I would blow those seeds into the distance. And they all have these little propellers, so they would take flight. This is how you can start to remedy what's missing. You can speak to what you would like to see, make a wish, make a declaration, create a boundary and say, this doesn't work, how are we gonna fix it? And by doing this, all these little seeds and possibilities, things start to open up. But it does require, on your part, communication. And again, it could be a communication of a desire, of a lack, of a boundary. You could also be stating a wish or dream and speaking it to someone to say, how can I make this happen in my life? Pages they're both passive and active at the same time. So they listen and take things in, and then they act on it. So this is where your activation can come through. You can get inspired. So a Page of Swords would read, like do research, would talk to other people, would think about it, but then they would trust their own counsel, because Rhiannon is your catalyst. And she's like, okay, you can listen to all of that, but what is it that you feel most? And then, put it out there into the world. Some of you may be deciding to use the power of speech or your written words to inspire others, to create change. However you want to do this. This can also be, by the way, advocating for those who are less privileged, because that's what's represented on the Five of Pentacles. So you're speaking up to make a difference, whether it's noticing something isn't good at the place you're working or the place that you live or your school, and you're like, we need to change it. You could rally some forces and make that change happen. Beautiful stuff, actually, right at the center there. Deep past, you've been working on yourself here. Seven of Pentacles is representing your self-investment. It's also showing me some of you have been working on healing emotionally and healing financially, and all of that takes time. And we can see that she has the rake down there, that she's been working to, sort of pull up the resources and mend things. And I would just say, keep on doing what you're doing. Slow, steady. The main thing you want to be mindful of, and it's in the past, so I think the lesson is there, but since it showed up in the spread, let's restate it. It's important not to try to overextend. So don't say yes to everybody. If there's something really expensive and maybe there's a sale or a bargaining opportunity down the line, wait. It's going to be better to just be very conservative when it comes to resources. Again, it's time, energy, and money. It's a common theme this month. I'll keep saying it in different ways, but your choices and your management ability this month it'll make all the difference. It either makes it or breaks it. So just be smart. It's good to say no this month. You have another card in the outcome. I mean, I'll jump to that because it's important, but the Two of Pentacles is basically asking you to make a choice, and that is your outcome. So everything that we're looking at prior to that is saying, use this to help you make the smart choice. Because when you're not stretched too thin, then you're able to just really get something done 100%, okay? So it's not only okay, but probably necessary to release something, to say no to someone, and to focus. As we take a look here at recent past, we have King of Pentacles coming through, and it's encouraging you to move past the limits that we saw at that center card. We literally see someone on top of their money, and we see them reaching for a goal, reaching higher than perhaps they were taught that they could reach or that they even thought possible. So by breaking through your own mental blocks and your own mental glass ceiling, this is when things really start to get exciting for you. So more is possible. That's the message here. More is possible than you thought. King of Pentacles also has to do with creating something that feels like home. And home is not necessarily a place. It can be the people that you're with. It could be something that you're working on that makes you feel passionate and connected. You have to figure out what your definition of home is and put a little bit of energy into that. The word that keeps echoing in my head as I look at this card is home can be community. And when you're plugged into that group of people, then you're even more productive. You're even more, that you get that feeling of being lifted up. That's what I see with this, interestingly enough. People in your life can lift you up to that next level. So really do an evaluation of the people that you're spending time with, and make sure that you feel that sense of community, collaboration, and again, uplifting energy as well. Speaking of that uplifting feeling here, we have the Nine of Cups right at the top in your crowning position. And this speaks to the power of positivity. And when you have that sense of it's going to be all right, or I'm excited to get up today, I don't know why, but this is going to be an amazing day. When you enter the moment with optimism, oftentimes you're met with a similar energy. So focusing on how you can motivate yourself. And again, we just talked about part of this could be the community that you spend the time with. It can also be the environment. I know I am much more inspired in this new environment than I was in the previous one where I was having health challenges. So it can be the people, the place, and then of course the things that you're engaged with, the activities. Anything that can bring you into the jubilant energy of Nine of Cups would be the first thing to focus on. This is your wish coming true. It is the wish fulfillment card. And how powerful is it? It's almost like call and answer. The center card was Page of Swords, which is a wish. And then we have right here the wish fulfillment. So you have to speak it, wish it, share it in order to receive it. And one thing that I'm trying to normalize here is that unlike a birthday wish, when there's something that you want, you oftentimes have to say it out loud. When we expect people or the universe or whatever to kind of pick up on it and just intuit it, it doesn't always work. So it's okay to articulate your wish, and you have a good chance of getting it. The one thing you want to avoid is extremes. Nine of Cups can show overdoing it in any capacity. So overworking, oversleeping, overeating, sort of like medicating yourself with whatever your vice of choice is. Just remember, less is more, and that is going to kind of keep you from getting in your own way. Let's take a look here at the near future. We have the Ace of Wands. This could be a light bulb moment for many of you. If you've been feeling stuck, like a mental block, for those of you that happen to be creative or just are trying to think your way through a problem, the good news here is that we see something starting to open up. And going back to both my channeled messages and also the catalyst here with Rhiannon, self-trust being so important. Trust your instinct, take that idea and develop it. That's the big takeaway here. This also represents vitality. So if you previously have been feeling uninspired or tired or just had difficulty in getting started with something, it does feel like that starts to shift. So that is good news. Looking at you this month here, we have the Eight of Cups, which I talked about with the octopus a little bit. The importance here, and we can see it in the main figure here, is to get some distance from whatever it is that you might currently be engaged with. So if you've been working really hard, take a break, clear your mind, make sure that you're still happy with what you're doing. If you're stuck, change up the environment, knowing that sometimes when you just step away, everything starts to fall together. This is also a cyclical card, so if there's something that you put on the shelf and forgot about, now's a good time to finish it. If there was something that you wanted to do but the stars kind of weren't aligned, you could try again. And in this particular moment, especially since we have the Ace of Wands, there is a newfound sort of like light and energy and fire in your belly that could take you the distance. So don't be afraid to take a step back and again, finish something, try something. Your energy right now is different than it was before, and that can open up new doors. We have an interesting energy popping through in the environment. If you've watched any of my videos, you know that there are three cards that work together. The Five of Swords, the Seven of Swords, and the Devil. The 5 and 7 in particular because they are different they're like cousins in shadow energy. This is someone who likes to get a rise out of you. 7 of Swords is typically someone trying to get away with something, but 5 of Swords could be a person in your life that no matter what you try to do, they are either not happy, or if you try to help them with something, they don't want to listen. It's either belligerent or they like to irritate you. And if that person's around you, you don't have the time and energy right now. So it's okay. In fact, it's suggested to cut ties, separate, create better boundaries there. This can also just be the inner saboteur coming through and falsely telling yourself that, you can't do this or you're not good enough or whatever. Usually that is it's like an operating system that's been put into place by a parent, teacher, or friend that really wasn't any of those things. They just came through with their own projections of fear. So we're going to remove those thoughts and instead focus on what's possible. And if there's people that are constantly trying to put you in a box or limit you or make you feel deflated, no more. It's time to separate from that. And that's the main takeaway on that. Looking at hopes, fears, and opportunities, we have an Eight of Pentacles. So I mentioned the eights would be coming through a bit. They did, in fact. And this Eight of Pentacles is saying, write your own path to liberation. Look at all these butterflies and moths that are on this card, mostly butterflies. And so she's kind of drawing on her own wings, or saying, this is the change that I want to be. This is the path that I want to take. The way that you can do it in the Eight of Pentacles is through education, through just simply putting in the work. It doesn't always have to require a certificate or a degree. It's just saying, I'm going to learn this, I'm going to put it to practice, and then I'm going to spread my wings. Beautiful energy. It takes some time though. And just like a butterfly has to go through stages to get to that final metamorphosis, so will you. So don't rush it. Have some fun in the process. And ultimately, as we take a look here at your outcome card, we have a chance to see things take flight, but again, it's a final decision or choice that's necessary. When you make that decision, that's when everything starts to open up to you. The cautionary note with Two of Pentacles is if you try to be everywhere at once or everything to everyone, eventually the rubber band that is the Two of Pentacles will snap and break. That could end up meaning like you end up saying something that you wish you didn't, you end up getting sick, or something just ends up being messier and longer than it needs to be when you're looking at like a project or activity. It's better to make a choice and say yes to one thing and no to another, or not yet to another, so that you can keep your balance of health and energy and resources, and just be a happier camper in the long run. Let's go ahead now and take a deeper dive into the extended forecast. So this is going to help us take a look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. We'll begin with health, which is mind, body, and spirit. And let's see what spirit has to say here. So we have the reward here, celebrate your magnificence. And for some of you, it's been a minute. It's been a minute since you had fun. So you may be focusing 24/7 on just working. Or you may feel like you're not worth kind of like being happy or celebrating, and that's wrong. It's you have to be in that place of joy. That's actually, when we looked at the crowning card, that was one of the core messages here, was to surround yourself with people and activities and environments that create that sense of joy and happiness, because that will bring about more productivity, and it's going to help you live a nice and happy and long life. So take a break. I feel like the first message here in health, and we get it here it is, showing up for you. It's time to take a break, get some distance. Even if it is just, a day, better yet, a week, take some time off, or get some distance from something. For those of you that are really busy and you're saying, Nicholas, I have like 2 kids, I have 2 jobs, it's saying carve some time in the busy schedule. Maybe it's only going to be 15 to 20 minutes, but that's your time to get distance, and it can be while you're taking a shower. Just shut the door so that you can focus and say, all right, in this moment, I really need to just feel planted, like my feet are on the ground, and I'm going to allow this water to wash away my concerns, and I'm just going to think, like, how am I? What do I need? So ground yourself, however little or however much you can give. Note how you feel that day when you give yourself a little, and then maybe try the next day to give a little bit more. And even if we are talking in the realm of minutes, it's minutes well spent. It's time well spent, okay? Now let's just look at all of the cards together and see what's coming through. This can simply be a cold or flu. And we're starting to enter into that season. A lot of kids are going back to school, which can mean, colds and flus and germs are starting to come back into your sort of environment, especially if you have kids. So don't overdo it. That's why the 2 of Pentacles is a balance card, and this is the cost if you overdo it, okay? Also, 5 of Pentacles, I think I still have the card here, has to do with your lower extremities. So it can be anywhere from like the knee down. So if you've ever had a broken ankle, or maybe you had some surgery with your knee or your ACL or whatever's going on in the legs basically and the feet, take special care. And because in the northern hemispheres we're starting to enter into a period where there's more rain and inclement weather, also be mindful of that. It's still a little soon for that, but for those of you that might be watching in the colder regions, you're probably already feeling some of that. Okay, let's see what else is going on here. Don't rush recovery. 7 of Pentacles shows that you're making progress, but whether it's emotional, financial, or health related, it takes time. That's the main message here. I think the biggest challenge could be people around you that don't support a new path that you want to take. So if you're trying to change yourself for the better, but someone comes through and kind of bursts the bubble, it's hard to just put that out of your head. So try to, again, distance yourself from people that aren't supportive of you making life-affirming and positive changes in your health. Okay. And great time to research and learn about new things. Don't go overboard when it comes to sugar, caffeine, anything that it would be a vice for you, because the 9 of Cups is a card of vices and extremes as well, so let's not do that. And King of Pentacles, same thing with, it's what's being consumed. Rich food, like we're looking at all of this, so high in fat, high in sugar, high in anything. We want to have balanced diets. Like more leafy vegetables and things like that. I'm not seeing as much of that in the spread. Okay, one last card, and then we're going to move on to the next part of this forecast. The 2 of Pentacles can also have to do with, so it can be figurative balance in your life. It can also be inner ear issues or vertigo. Obviously, if you're going through any of that, you want to work with a healthcare professional, but I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Okay. Moving on from health to wealth, this is your resources, your life purpose, your career. And interestingly enough, we have a fog card coming through on this one. and it shows that something is hidden, veiled. Interestingly enough, I would connect these two together because this is someone, as we can see on this card, she's kind of hiding in the shadows, right? Working possibly with that Seven of Swords energy. So ask tough questions when it comes to your finances, your money, anything that you're agreeing to do now. You really want to go beneath the veil on this card. This also reminds me of Seven of Cups in tarot, where you're just thinking of way too many things. So if you're getting lost in the details, if something just feels unnecessarily complicated or obscure, just again, raise your hand and say, I need some clarity. Don't apologize. Don't say, oh, I'm sorry to interrupt, or this may sound like a silly question. There are no silly questions. Just ask your question. Just say, before proceeding, I need clarity on this. That puts you in a position of power. And we want to keep you as feeling like you are powerful and worthy to receive that information. Sometimes people are trying to make you confused. And so never apologize for getting clear and for using your voice. All right, we're going to break this down into 3 categories. Those that are employed, seeking employment, or students and retirees. Okay, let's begin first with those who have a current job. So the biggest challenges are coming in the form of the 5s here. So for some of you, it can be self-confidence. And so Rhiannon comes in and says, like, trust yourself. There also may be limited support. This is an environment in which you are not supported. You might be doing the job of a couple of people. You may not receive confirmation when you do something well. You may just feel like you're on the outside looking in, just trying to do your best. That's not sustainable in the long run. The good news here, though, you have the ability to speak up, you have the ability to create some action, and you have the ability to say no. Use these tools, whichever one works the best for you, to push back at some of that. This can also just simply show that you've worked to the point of exhaustion. Again, usually just a cold or flu, but why put yourself there if you don't have to, right? I do see just general, like, it feels like when we're looking at management in existing companies, the resources aren't allocated in a mindful and sort of like sensible way. It feels like there's poor management. I'm trying to say it in a nice way, but there could be mismanagement or misallocation of funds and resources, so speak up to that. Your positivity is really one of your best strengths. Stay there if you can. Again, you might need to change up the working environment to help amp up your productivity. Overall, when we're looking at past, near future, and outcome, they're pretty good. It just shows me here that you're doing the best with limits. And so if there's any way to articulate or to change some of those limits so that you have more freedom, more room to spread your wings, that's going to be the big takeaway here, okay? I'm not necessarily seeing an immediate path to growth or anything of that nature. I think anything that you try to create when it comes to like a raise or a promotion, it's a couple of months down the line, but it is a good time to put things into writing. One very last important point for those that are currently employed is to be mindful of who it is that you're talking to for counsel. Trust yourself and really focus on trusted friends or colleagues. You don't want to speak too openly if you're not sure who the person is or who their alliances are, because word could get around, especially with this particular card in the environment. There may be someone who's just kind of listening and they might be talking more than they should. So be smart about who you confide in and how much you say. Let's now shift over and look at job seekers. Job seekers, I really feel the frustration that would be the fog card. And I think it absolutely feeds into Five of Pentacles, this feeling of, am I worthy? Why isn't this going anywhere? I think that a lot of it has to do with your point of contact, whether it is an actual person like a recruiter or a software program that analyzes what you've entered, because sometimes nowadays we don't even deal with humans. It feels like it's kind of, there's a lot of other resumes there, it's plugged up and there's this veil. So if you're not, I always say follow the energy. If nothing is fruitful on that path, take another path. In fact, go back into your emails. Did you miss something? Did you forget to follow up with someone? Trace all the other paths and see if any of those are fruitful, and if not, then forge a new one. Keep trying until eventually you kind of break through the fog. It's all right if something isn't working. It's typically not an indication that you're not worthy, but that wasn't the right connection. One thing to be super mindful of, let's say you have made it through the fog. Let's make sure that when it comes to negotiation and compensation, that you're not selling yourself too short here. Five of Pentacles, like I said, it's not where we exactly want it to be. You're worth at least the Seven of Pentacles. So let's really advocate for a little bit more, 10 or 20% more, something that's a little bit more in alignment here. So I do feel like you can strike a better balance when it comes to compensation. Also be mindful of what sacrifices and obligations this company might require of you. Two of Pentacles can be a lot of weekends, a lot of nights, a lot of extra time. And sometimes when you make less, but you have more time to yourself, it all washes out and it's like, I'm a happier person, right? So look at all of the different opportunities in front of you, and you may ultimately be faced with that kind of a decision where one looks really good on paper, but one feels a lot better, and it might be better in the long run. Okay, so choices. There's opportunity choices here, opportunity costs, and I do think you can find something, but don't force a connection if it isn't there, okay? And the other thing here with the Page of Swords can be reaching out to someone that you think might be hiring, because we have the wish element in this with the all the dandelion seed pods. So if there's somebody who, you can just see that they're overwhelmed, and this may be someone that you could also pitch your products and services to them and say, hey, I could help out. Are you looking? Or I have actually found a job. It's been a long time, but it was almost like 24 years ago, maybe 22 years ago, one of my first jobs. I just knew that I wanted to work at this one company, and I just sent them a resume, and they had just opened a position. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but if I didn't try, I wouldn't have known that, and I wouldn't have had that lovely 4-year experience that I did at that company. So also try that kind of energy where you're creating your own path that doesn't exist currently in the sort of like job listings and whatnot. Okay. Now let's take a look at those who are students. Students, what's going on with you? Some of you are just a little bit overextended here. So remember here not to have too many credit hours and not to overdo it when it comes to activities. Pull back a little bit. I'm looking at these two flowers here, and it could be like, I saw this in the previous sign, maybe like double minor, double major, or you might be blending together two programs to make something unique. I like that. Be honest with yourself when it comes to how much work is going to be required on something. Don't let any sort of fear or anxiety get in the way, but just ask the tough questions. There's some digging to do when it comes to all opportunities this month, so get as informed as you can before saying yes. And I do have two cards that are associated with travel. Just make sure that your resources are aligned, like you have enough money, and that you've planned it out. So when I decided to do like a postgraduate internship, I basically just graduated early and then did one just because and just for fun, and I didn't really need the credit. But I did something that wouldn't disrupt my degree, basically. So just make sure you've planned it out, or that you can study at an accredited college and everything transfers. Just do the homework, because there could be something, like I said, that isn't clear on the onset, so you just need to dig a little deeper on that. All right, looking at retirees, what's going on with you? Well, actually, I mean, we have a really good card across the board for most of you. It feels like if we just take all of this out of the equation, Nine of Cups is happiness. Some of you, again, are very sort of inspired in this moment. You might feel this sense of like a desire to want to do something, because this is passion and desire. Whether it's a relationship or a project, you have a lot of time and energy that you can put into that right now. And definitely, it's a great time to go back to school. And it doesn't matter how you want to apply this. You can do it just because it's something that you're excited about. Some of you are looking at where you've been putting your energy, and I think it is more about relationships here, like the people that you used to hang out with. You might find that it's just some people don't call you anymore, or you don't enjoy the time you're spending. So I think this is really a reallocation of time, and it's a little bit more solo, and that's okay. It feels like you're pulling back from some people so that you can focus just a little bit more on a core group and also on core projects and opportunities. And that's what I have to say for those who are retired. Let's move on to love and relationships. We'll take a little briefer dive into this since we went so deep into work. In love and relationship, well, here we go. It's a nice alignment here. We have solitude. In silence, peace prevails. The card is reversed, so some of you may already be in the throes of that hermiting energy. Some of you may be entering into it. The main reminder here is that it's not a forever state, that it is good to come up for air, that it is good to connect with others. But spend some time on your own. And again, that is what this Eight of Cups has to say as well. It can be a day, a week, or a month where you're just focusing on what's important, not so much what other people think, what they want, what their projections, what their issues are. It just allows you to decompress and to get clear, okay? Let's focus on 3 different statuses here with relationships, those that are in a relationship looking for love, or those that are happily single. If you are currently in a relationship, one of the main challenges could be one or both partners just dealing with self-confidence here. And we saw that here with self-trust, self-worth, self-confidence, all in the same general sphere, and it's right there at the center of things. So when it comes to you, this is something that obviously you can work on with the partner, but also maybe even with a therapist or with other friends just to kind of talk through that. I like that we have the Page of Swords here, which is keeping the lines of communication open. As long as we get something like that in the spread, it's manageable here. I think the main thing is that there's an unequal allocation of responsibilities and energy, so you can just kind of take turns better doing things and helping one another. That's one thing. Also, if there's something challenging that you need to talk to the partner about, 5 of Swords shows someone who may not be ready to listen. So wait until the moment and the timing is right, and ask too. Especially if something like this is going on, you can say, how can I help? Like, what can I do? Sometimes people don't want a solution. They just want a listening ear. And then that helps inform you how you can show up. And you're like, well, okay, I don't have to fix it. I can just support them. That's easy. So save yourself some time and energy and ask them what it is that they need from you. And then you can show up in a way that is more supportive and maybe less likely to cause some challenges. Let's see what else is going on. I feel like there could be a distance component here with the Eight of Cups. It's temporary, so there could be some traveling. There also could be someone that's traveling to take care of a personal issue, possibly with family or siblings. So this could be completely outside of the relationship, and this could be a sibling, a friend, a family member that's challenging, and the partner's kind of taking some time to deal with that. That also creates some challenges here. So again, open communication is key. I feel like one of you is really good at organizing, supporting, and holding space. So I think as long as that is met by the other partner or eventually reciprocated, things will be all right. Definitely, some of you are starting a family because this is parental, this is child, so this could be a chance to bring new life or new energy into the family. Overall, it's pretty good, folks. It's a good energy spread here. I think that definitely in this moment in time, you want to talk about money. It's an important thing in the relationship with half of the cards around time, energy, and money. Really just keeping open communication there, okay? If you're looking for love right now, I think the most important thing for you is to look at your schedule, get that sort of centered and grounded, look at your finances and make sure that they're in a good place. Take a look at your health, make sure that that's where it needs to be, and then clear out any of this energy in the environment. Once you've done that groundwork, then we see someone that might be coming in from the past. It could be an earth sign. Then we also see the ability to really connect in this moment. So can you find someone? Yes. Take the first 2 weeks cleaning up your life, then really focus on your energy with the relationship. It could go really fast too. This is passion. This is passion. This is someone who really kind of can provide in a way that's amazing. So I like what I see here. This is just saying get your life ready, because if you're ready for it, it can come in. But at present, there's a little bit of work to do, and I always keep it real when I see that. Okay. Now looking at those that are happily single, good for you. Some of you are choosing to go back to school. Some of you might be starting a new project. Some of you are getting involved to change the world. This is things that, like I said earlier, you don't like, and this is you using your voice and actions to change it. And also maybe some home improvements going on as well. Be mindful of not overdoing it when it comes to how much physical activity you're doing if it's home improvement, and also how much money you're spending on it. Pace yourself. As someone who just recently moved, I can't afford to get everything at once. One thing per month. I focused on my studio first, I'll get my bed next, then I'll get a couch. I can only do one thing per month because like everyone, I have a budget and you have to just focus on it. Furniture and moving, it's expensive, right? So one step at a time. You're not in a race. Just take your time and energy on that if you're doing some home improvement. All right, let's move on to your destiny card here. Let's see what this is. Okay, this is about healing and love. So we have the Christ flame, but we can just look at this as a healing energy. Take the religious connotations out, and this is one of the most loving and forgiving figures in history, right? So when we look at that, this is saying in this moment in time. It's also, so this particular individual was intuitive, they were a healer, and they were forgiving. So you have all of these energies within you, the ability to see, the ability to heal, and the ability to rebound, to reinvent, and to come back from any sort of challenge that might be in front of you. All right, let's change up gears now and take a look at sun, rising, and moon sign. Sun, rising, and moon. Here we go. All right, we're going to start off first with sun sign. We have the first reversal here in the form of the Knight of Swords. And this is a chance for you to slow down. In the upright position, it's possibly one of the fastest moving cards in both minor and major arcana. And this is saying slow down not only in how quickly you're moving, but maybe even speaking or signing contracts, because we see her writing that quill, right? It's also a chance for you to revise, and we even see it here if it's upright, but especially reversed. It's like taking the pen to paper and saying, no to this, I need clarity to that, we need to move this around. So for those of you that might be working on something like a thesis or a big contract, or maybe even like a trust or something where it has to be right, take your time. If you're feeling like life is moving too quickly, taking a vacation, slowing down in that way, taking care of your health, all of these things are important. And then, of course, a Knight of Swords will take time to listen. Listening to higher self, but also listening to whatever else is coming through. All right? Powerful messages, nicely aligned with the channeled messages as well. All right, moving on to rising sign. We have the Tower, one of the most impactful cards here in the major arcana. So the Tower is a necessary change, and this person is holding on to something even when it needs to be released. So something has run its course, something has served its highest good, and now it's time to see beyond that. I feel like the card that's most associated with it is this. So when there's something around you that's creating that fog, sometimes the fog can even be like the dust after the tower. Just give yourself a moment or two to sort out how you feel about the change rather than just a knee-jerk reaction like I don't want it to happen. Sometimes it's for the better. This can involve, for many of you, a massive change. So positive towers include things like graduation, new marriage, a birth of a child, and possibly even like construction in a house, like renovation like I talked about. Challenging towers can be the loss of a job, the loss of a relationship, or a massive change in your health. So you have to slow down. This is riding on the heels of the sun message. Slow down, be present, and embrace, and then engage with necessary changes once you've figured out where you stand. Okay? Let's move on to moon sign. We have the star. After the tower comes the star. All of these are nicely connected in sun, rising, and moon. So for all of you in Leo moon, what we really see in this moment in time is a chance for you to say, I've been through this. I know who I am. I know what I want. I'm ready in this moment to just embrace and be that truth. Lean into your authenticity. It's a card of creativity. For those of you that are in a public sort of light, whether it's like a CEO or a celebrity, or you're the leader in your family, the spotlight's on you. It can be a sort of however big or small you want the spotlight to be. In this moment, you can really make some significant changes. And it also shows a very, very strong connection to source. So highly creative, highly intuitive, highly impactful. People are listening, watching, and really kind of waiting to see what you want to do in all the best ways. So lean into that in this moment in time. Let's now look at one last card. This is whatever question you still have that I haven't already had a chance to address. Go ahead and close your eyes and silently meditate on that. And let's give Spirit a chance to show up and answer. Hanged Man came through. Not yet. If it's a yes or no, it's a not yet. But what it is affirming in this moment is you're exactly where you need to be and where you should be. You may not be exactly where you want to be, but Spirit is it's kind of unveiling something. It's lifting the fog. And in this particular spread, we can see that zipper coming down to reveal, like, behind the curtain. The wizard behind the curtain. I hadn't thought of that until now with the channeled message. So that's kind of what the magician energy was giving, is that there's something more than meets the eye, and it just needs a little bit of time to be revealed. Also with Hanged Man energy, you want to be mindful again of, often this is Achilles tendon, but like foot, ankle, Achilles tendon, lower extremities again. So this is a really important month if you've had any previous injury with anything in your legs, just to really be mindful of that. Legs, knees, feet, lower extremities. Okay. That, my friends, is everything. Thank you so much for allowing me to be basically your channel and your medium to bring it all through. It's been my honor and pleasure to do so. If you enjoyed this, a simple, free, and easy way to show support is to click the subscribe button. That helps the channel grow. That helps other people find this video. So does the like button. You can like every video that you watch here, and that is a great way to give back. And if you've never subscribed, again, free and really impactful, so thank you. If you want to give a little bit more, you can do so through super stickers, super chat, and memberships. And that's also a very sustaining way to help me rebuild, because I recently had to go through my own tower moment and start from scratch. So thank you so much. Additionally, just a couple of notes. If you want to get reminders on other platforms, I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh on all the major platforms. Be mindful that from time to time, imposters will pop up. So you want to really make sure that it's spelled right. You can go to my website for exact spellings, or the main channel page here on YouTube. And also just be smart about this when it comes to the way that imposters work. So they usually try to reach out in a direct message or a comment and say, click here and try this, and I've chosen you. And you know that that's deceptive behavior. So just block and report. Let me know about it so I can fix it as well. And that's everything, folks. Thank you so much for being the absolute best part of what I do here on YouTube, for continuing to show up with enthusiasm and kindness. I think this is one of the best communities that I've ever seen. You guys are amazing. So from my heart to yours, wishing you all the best, and I'll see you soon. Remember to check out also my weekly and my daily videos if you enjoy the monthly ones. All right, bye-bye.